Hey everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about something I haven't talked about in a minute, and that is RunDisney. I'm going to share with you how I feel about RunDisney right now, what race I signed up for and during what weekend, how I'm going to be training, and how you can be part of all the fun. And I'm really glad that you're here. Okay, so let's just talk about the Dumbo in the middle of the room, which is regardless of your feelings about masks or restrictions or vaccinations, we're not going to talk about any of that today. And I would love it if you would not talk about it in the comments as well, because RunDisney is kind of a hot topic. I'm feeling a little uneasy about it myself, but I'm trying to kind of manifest positive energy out into the world. And I'm hoping that by doing this video, we can all together say that by the time we go to RunDisney, hopefully things will be even more normal than they are today, whatever normal looks like. And I just have to get out of a scarcity mindset and into a mindset of generosity and abundance and things happening and good health and good fitness and being with my friends and all of the things. So that is what I want to say to start. Also, if you're nasty in the comments, I just deleted anyway, but you know. The other thing I want to say is I realize that I said not that long ago that I was done running Disney, but as we know, it is a woman's prerogative to change her mind. That is actually not just reserved for women. Anybody can change their mind about anything, anytime that they want. It's one of my favorite parts about being a human being. I have signed up for a race, and in just a minute, I'm gonna tell you which one. But first, let's talk a little bit about my history with RunDisney. My very first RunDisney race was all the way back in 2009. I started running when I was 39 years old. I have now run 4 full marathons at Disney, and then I also ran the Chicago Marathon. So I've actually run 5 marathons. I have loved RunDisney races. I have loved my RunDisney friends. Distance running has really been a mainstay of who I am for years and years. I never was a runner when I was young, and then I fell in with a bad crowd. And it was a whole bunch of people that ran Disney that actually looked an awful lot like me. And I thought, well, if they can do it, then I can probably do it too. And I started running a mile at a time. And before I knew it, I was running 10Ks and half marathons and full marathons and absolutely loving it. Now, at 51 years of age, I have cut back on my running quite a bit. Whereas I used to run 5 days a week, now I run maybe 2 or 3 days a week. I do Jeff Galloway's run walk intervals, and I used to do 2 minutes of running and 30 seconds of walking, and I now do 1 minute of running and 30 seconds of walking. So that's cut back a little bit. Also, just from a personal health standpoint, I do have stage 4 arthritis in my right knee, which means I have no cartilage in my right knee. So when I train for longer distances, it's not that I can't do it. My doctor's very supportive of my running journey, but it will just hurt. And I don't really love pain. So I now am running 10K distances and shorter only. And I have signed up for, drum roll please, the 10K at Marathon Weekend. Woohoo! Now, is it gonna happen? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm gonna train for it, and I'm gonna put my best effort forth to show up to the race ready to run. As it so happens, we were going to be in Walt Disney World anyway during that time. And so when I knew we were going to be there, and then when I saw that Marathon Weekend was going to happen, there were 2 things about that weekend that I knew I had to be there for. I had to sign up for the 10K, and maybe even I'm slightly more excited about, I had to be cheering for the full marathon. Now, cheering for the full marathon at Disney is something I have done now for several years. Ever since I stopped running the marathon myself, I realized that cheering the runners on, huge for me. It is like one of the most life-affirming things you will ever do. And where I like to cheer, and some of you may have seen me cheering there because I'm very loud. I'm loud anyway, but when I'm cheering for the marathon, oh my gosh, forget it, is right along the water there at the boardwalk. So you're kind of standing literally with the boardwalk behind you. You're looking at the Swan and Dolphin. I believe it's just about mile 24 of the marathon. And some of you, especially if you've never run a marathon, might think, well, why do they need to be cheered on at mile 24? I mean, they only have 2.2 miles to go at that point. But I will tell you that my first full marathon, that was my hardest section. That was when I felt like I just could not go on. It's when I needed people to cheer for me the most. And it's really where I needed the most help. So it's where I like to cheer because I feel like I can offer encouragement and support. And the other thing is at that point, and if you're not familiar with RunDisney, some of the terms I'm using may not make sense to you, but I have a whole RunDisney playlist that I'll put up here and also in the description box. But by the time you're there, you are saved from being swept. And a lot of runners don't know that. And so I was always really happy to tell the ones that looked like they were having a hard time, listen, run, walk, crawl, finish. At this point, you will finish the marathon because there comes a point in the course where Disney will not remove you from the race course regardless of time, and they will allow you to finish the race. At least that's how they used to do it. Now, everything that I ever say is always subject to change because it's Disney and that's just the way it works. So I am going to be training for Marathon Weekend. I am going to be there. I hope to see a lot of you there. Now, how am I going to train? So I have not trained for a race in a hot minute. So I'm basically starting from scratch. So I'm actually going to start doing, or I already have started doing, 30-second run walk intervals. And I get a lot of questions from you guys about, can you walk a Disney race? Can you run walk a Disney race? You absolutely can. Disney races are very run walker friendly. They're not, I'd like to say they're walker friendly because they sort of are, but you do need to be able to maintain a 16 per minute mile pace. So that's a pretty fast walk. Now I have walked the Princess Half Marathon with my friend Sarah because she had some injuries, I had some injuries, and that was just what we needed to do that year. And we were able to do it, but you do need to be trained. Sometimes I think people show up for RunDisney events and they think because it's Disney, it's somehow going to be easier. But the thing is, it's still 3.2 miles or 3.1 miles or 6.2 miles or 13.1 miles or 26.2 miles. Is it the most magical race on earth? Absolutely, but the mileage doesn't change just because it's Disney. And one of the things that I personally see a lot is people show up to Disney races under-trained. I think it's dangerous. I think you cause a hazard to other people on the course. And it's honestly one of my pet peeves. So please, 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 if you decide you're gonna run a RunDisney race, make sure you are trained, make sure you are up to the task, and really show up at that start line feeling confident that you'll be able to complete the mileage, because it is a big deal, especially when you add into it that Disney weather, even in January, can be very unpredictable. I have finished the marathon when it was 90 degrees outside. So if you're already not trained and then we have some unpredictable Florida heat and humidity that will definitely play into it, and this is especially going to be true for the Wine and Dine Half Marathon coming up in November, to me it's just a very dangerous scenario. But if you're interested in learning more about how I run and how I train, I do most of my running content over on my lifestyle channel, and so I'll put a link to that in the description box and up here as well, and you're welcome to go over there and kind of get a little more insight into the actual training. That's where I will be talking more about my training, and I try to stay very humble when it comes to running, because it'd be very easy for me to say, as someone with a lot of marathons and dozens of half marathons under my belt, oh, this is just a 10K, but 6.2 miles is not just anything. That's a lot of mileage, and I want to run it, and I want to run it well, and I want to feel really good about my performance. So I will be doing training updates over there. So what if you are thinking about running a Disney race, but you're feeling really concerned about the other situations with the great unpleasantness? This is what I have to say and what I'm going to speak out into the world. I am putting my faith in RunDisney that they are not going to put themselves in a situation where runners are in danger. And here's why I know that. Because RunDisney is a good company, but also because of liability. And I know that they would not put any of us in a situation where we will be taking on an undue risk. Now, anytime you run a race, you're already taking on a risk, and we are going to be, in tight quarters with corrals, all of those things. Personally, if I were not vaccinated, this is not something that I would ever even consider. However, I do feel confident that by January, if things are not improved, we probably will see a canceled race. And that's one of the things I know a lot of us are so canceling things fatigued. But for me, scheduling it kind of put a stake in the ground and said, you know what? I can't keep living on a wing and a prayer. I've got to do something that says I have hope. Something that says we're going to move forward, something that says we are finally going to get out of this. I know if you're with me, it's been very discouraging lately because it feels like we were almost at the top of the mountain and then we kind of got pushed back down again, and that isn't fun. But we're strong and resilient, and I feel like, as Glennon Doyle says, who I adore, we can do hard things. And for me, signing up for that 10K was a hard thing. It wasn't so much a hard thing because I was concerned about the training, but because it was a hard thing for me to accept that I would feel comfortable doing that by January. But who knows? The world is a very uncertain place, and anytime you sign up for a race, there's uncertainty, right? You could get injured in training. Something could come up that could interrupt your travel plans. So signing up for a race this far in advance is an act of faith, and it always has been. So in my mind, I thought, you know what? It is an act of faith, but to me, it's an act of faith, and it's an act of hope, and it's an act that brought me a lot of joy when I signed up for it. So at this point, that's $135 well spent. So are you running any Run Disney races? Are you maybe running the virtual races? Because those are still available and those are super fun. You can still earn medals. You can still do it virtually with friends. I would love to be your training buddy, and I would love to see you over on the other channel as we do our updates as I'm beginning my training. Again, I will be following the Jeff Galloway training plan, so I'm not even sure when that starts for the 10K for Marathon Weekend. I probably maybe should look that up. I maybe am supposed to already be at 3 miles or something, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And one way or the other, you guys, we are all in this together. I hope you're having a really good day. I hope whatever you're doing, you're being really good to each other. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. See you soon. Bye.